You know, that I thought meditation was much more important than most things, yeah? And then, so my head, my mental state put a lot of meaning into meditation. So in a way, the mental state had like super glue to apply to the identification as a self, yes? Because it was claiming the meditation, which it does, whatever it comes in contact with, it's going to claim, yeah? And it's going to construe you as the meditator, yeah? So as soon as that meditator seems to be produced, you're never going to meditate yourself out of that meditator, because all the meditation is being used to imply the meditator, yeah? And the process that's doing that is very, very fast, to the point where I don't believe there's a process here that can out-process that process, yeah? The process of the feeling of being the one that's doing something, or seeing and hearing and feeling, is very, 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 very fast in time, yeah? So in time, which are the realm of processes, I don't believe there's a process that is going to work on that process, yeah? By the time it starts going, that process will have already claimed it, yes? So your idea of getting out is another form of being in. So you're believing, you have fervent hope and faith that you're getting out of something, and I humbly believe it could happen, but there is something that you may not be noticing, that which claims that wanting to get out is reinforcing the idea you're in. Yeah? And it's not personal. It doesn't just happen to you, because it's not happening to you. It's happening. And then after it's happening, there's a sense of being a you. Yeah? So, they said some guy used to come and see me when I did it in San Rafael, and he told me that he found research where that sense of being the one, it takes about 500th of a second to arise. So, you're not going to beat that with any processes, are you? Really? So where are you going to find relief? Because most of the relief that you're going to find is going to come after that bondage of self, you know? It's going to come after being the one that found the relief, which will tattoo the relief and neuter it, yeah? I mean, it's just very, very fast. It's like a gunslinger, and it hasn't met anyone that can outdraw it, yeah? So it's doing all this shit, and, you know, and it's very confident in itself. But the beauty of it is that we are timeless, in a sense. We're not of time, let's put it that way. Like Jesus says, you know, we're in this, he said, I don't know what, you know, he really said, but it's perfect. He's supposed to have said, you know, we're in this world, but we're not of this world. Yeah. So one of the qualities of being in this world is time, yes? Time is a huge, huge, huge influence here. Yeah? So if you take his statement, that's more like a negation. So we're in this world, but he's saying, but you're not of what's in this world. So you're not of body, yeah? Because that's in the world, yeah? You're not of time, you're not of coming and going. You're something not beyond, but quite different than all that, yeah? So that sense of being not of time, that can outgun the gunslinger of time, because it's always got the gun drawn. It's never taking any time to draw it, because it's got the gun out, yeah? So in a way, you and I are the solution we're looking for. But it's where we're looking for it from is the dilemma, yeah? If you're looking for the solution from what you're not, the looking for the solution will be used to reinforce the idea of what you're not. That's what it does. You got to recognize its movements. Yeah? If you don't see them, you'll be looking from them. Yeah? So, its first movement, selfing, is claiming. That's what it does. Like there's a famous book called Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. I don't know if you heard of it. This Tibetan teacher called Trungpa Rinpoche. Famous book. And the first page says, first sentence says, you know, the one thing you need to know is that the ego, and I don't like the term ego, but let's say, I'll follow what he said, that the ego is going to claim everything it comes in contact with, or the selfing, yes? So that's its movement. It's going to claim it. So if you come in contact with a process, that process is going to be used to imply the one who's in the process. Yeah? It doesn't have, there's not a certain process that's immune to the claiming, you know, or that's an untouchable process. It's 5,000. It doesn't give a damn about any of that. It's like almost like a reaction. As soon as it comes in contact with something, it claims it. And the claiming of it is used to imply the claimant, yeah? You can't have a direct hit of the claimant because there isn't one. It's like a side shot. The claiming of activities that are seemingly as real can be here are being used to imply the one who's in the activity. Now that's subject to debate if there's anyone in there, yeah? So it doesn't have its own light to shine, so it gets like a reflection. It's sort of like the moon and the sun. The moon is just the surface that the sun's rays reflect off of, and then we get them. And at night, we think it's the moon. I mean, when you're a kid, you think the moon is shining. But the moon isn't shining. It's never shined. It's a dead little fucking rock. But it's being hit by the sun. It doesn't matter if we believe it or not. That's the case. Yeah. So what we're implying the moon has a lot to do with, it has nothing to do with. It's not creating light, you know what I mean? It's just reflecting light, yeah? So this is sort of the case. So what we are gets forgotten, seemingly, and in that forgetfulness, what we are, which is the light of all lights, yeah, is used, a reflection of it, seeing what we're not, the activity, is now used, right? To imply the activity is the one that is the light, yeah? Do you know what I mean? It's like the moon is walking around and fucking like the sun, and the only thing that's going to really dissuade that from that is when the sun appears, which it's always appearing. It's just that we're not noticing it because we've fallen into a swoon about the moon, yeah? Because it's about us, yeah? So if you see the activity, because you can't see what you're not, because there isn't anything called what you're not. You can see the activities, the mental activities, backed up by its stormtroopers of memory and perception. And so those activities, if you're constantly being bombarded by them, yes, and the thought system, which is just like, you know, like in the army when they have the bugle in the morning, it's all day. You're being called to arms all day, it's constantly, because every thought is being used to imply the thought about or the thinker, yeah, which neither are you that. You're not either of those. So there's a huge job. It's like if it had lungs, it'd be exhausted, really, because it's huffing and puffing all day to try to get this thing across, because it's really attempting to convince reality that it's not reality. And so that the reality that we are will be given over to the mental idea of what's happening, and suddenly we'll be in what we call dreaming, and we'll think it's real. Yeah. And therefore, in the dreaming, there is a world, there is time, there is bodies, there is separation, there is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But Jesus humbly tried to sort of circuit the whole belief in it by saying, hey, yeah, you're in this world, but you're not of this world. Yeah? So if you want to know what you're of, realize what you're not in. That's how you go. Jesus is like another teacher of negation, in a way. He's negating the world. He's not saying, oh, it's so wonderful. It's just he's negating the world so you'd realize, Jesus, You don't need to study what you are. Your only position in regards to what you are is being it. Yeah? If you relegate it to a topic, you are definitely going to diminish its effects here. Yeah? The only knowledge that we can have is about what we're not. Yeah? We can be very clear about what we're not. Yeah? But we cannot know what we are. We're relegated only to the condition of being it. Yeah? That's the beauty of it. So the being of it isn't like a diploma you get 4 years after you've studied or known something. It's constantly available at all times, right where you are. There's no point where you get on it, and there's no point where you leave it. Yeah, you're so far beyond any of that because you are it, that it's actually escaping our attention because our attention is being misdirected by the mental state. It truly is. It's been put under service to self-centeredness. So your interest and attention, if there was a strong pause, things would become obvious in a lot of ways. But constantly, the interest and attention is being misdirected by the mental state. It's being directed to all the thoughts that are about the past and all the thoughts are about the future. So what you are, the presence of you as an activity is dispersed, yeah, into what's not happening. And the God of what's not happening is self. That's it, really. That's the church for it. That's the religion of it, yeah. Because that which a phantom God can only appear yesterday and tomorrow because it's not appearing now. It can only get a sense of appearing by I was there, I definitely will be there, therefore I am here. But it's not true, yeah. If you take this and this away, it has nothing to stand on right now. Nothing. You'd have to look at a mirror 800 zillion times to convince yourself that you're a body. There would be absolutely it wouldn't gain any traction without thought. Yeah? The thought's main job is to imply you're the thinker and all the thought about that you're a thing. Yeah? And there's a lot of them going on. Some research says over 70,000 thoughts a day. What the hell are they doing all day? You know what I mean? What job do you have that uses 70,000 thoughts? I mean, I could go on a long drive across the country. It wouldn't need 70,000 thoughts. Just the map and some gas, where the gas stations were. 70,000 thoughts are a lot of reminders of something. Yeah, they don't seem to be serving us. I think they'd be much better if they were like it's like the super premium channel when all you want is like the stock channels. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to eat today, okay? You know what I mean? Not like 70,000 thoughts, you know. And you have to see that most of them are about you in a lot of ways. Yeah? You're really, in a sense, the you that you're not is the most thought about topic here. Yeah, for everyone. Yeah. The me is like the center of the godless universe of yesterday and tomorrow. Because we're constantly going on. You wouldn't go back and see what Stanley was doing 8 years ago. You really have no interest if you're not Stanley. Really, I don't sit and worry about Mitch, you know. I'm hoping Mitch is doing, you know, not obsessively. I mean, I may care that he's not doing well or something, but I'm not sitting there, oh, Mitch, no. There's only one singer I'm going to adore, and it's about me. Yeah? You gotta get a little suspicious how it seems so unbelievably uneven. When a thought is in your head and it's driving you crazy, it doesn't seem to have any effect on me. And yet the same thought held in a certain situation here as mine would have a huge amount of power. So obviously you can just cut out the thought as the power source. The thought is given the power by something, mind, who knows, but it's definitely not you. You're an expression of it, but you're not the distributor of the power. Yeah? So the thought, and where does the power lie? The engine is the mind. That's the engine. The claiming by the mental state that you are all there is to be thought about. The claiming of all the activities is where the meaning is given to the activity, to the doing. I mean, you would have compassion as someone who did something, but because you have this haughty idea that you're so much better, if you did it, you'd be fucking in guilt and shame for 30 years. What's the difference? It was the same action. Well, someone else did it, you know. I hold them to the high standards I hold myself. Fucking, I'm just for 30 years. Why did I, do that? I mean, that's obsession with self, isn't it? And you can't, and the thing is, if the claiming has occurred, it always occurs, but if it actually couples, the two train cars lock up, if that happens, then what you're going to be on two gears. You're going to just go forward and backward. You're going to be totally based on the past, and then it's going to be projected into a worrisome future. I had a friend come over yesterday, or the other day, and he, because of a lot of impressions he got seemingly when he thought he was young, not a very scary household, this and that he has a lot of free-floating anxiety. And it's never about what's happening. It's about what he thought happened. Yes. And the thought, see, you can always tell. If there's like 30 shit pies on the table, the main ingredient was thought. Every fucking one of them. I thought. Yeah. So I could see it, and I said, bro, yes, but the point is, you have to see that it's not happening. Because if you really see that it's not happening, the appropriate response is nothing. You don't do anything, because it's not happening. As soon as it has a feeling of, as soon as you give it a sense of reality, and especially when you start looking for solutions for it, you're not going to be on a fucking wild goose chase. Yeah? And who's going to be emphasized the whole time? You. I'm just going to let it ring. I can't find the phone. Just happens every time. Jesus Christ. Then I turn it off and it rings anyway. I take the battery out and it rings. Can't win. So if you see the movements, and believe me or not, it doesn't. I'm just sharing, how it's been downloaded, how I see it. All right. So claiming is the big movement. Yeah. And so now you can recognize it, and the recognition of it is this word mind. Yeah. And you'll see the difference between a thought and my thought. The weight's unbelievably different. And you think, oh, so what? There's 1 ounce more in a thought than if I call it mine than if it's just a thought. But if you total 70,000 of them, that's a lot of weight you're carrying during the day. And then seemingly another day comes, and basically you're like a you're like a garbage dump. I mean, it's just dumping on you. And you can't process all that. How can you live today through the travails of 20 years of yesterday and 50 years of tomorrow? We're overmatched. And especially when our guide is fucking insane. We've been taking its counsel for quite a while. I mean, it's our best friend in a way. It's constantly there. Even when we don't want it to be. But see, you can't in this case, you gotta throw the baby out with the bathwater. You gotta see that, hopefully entertain it. You're not the thought about, nor are you the thinker. Yeah? Just let it in there. Let this little novel idea get in there, and then apply this very, very, very lovely little suggestion by a very old Zen master, faith mind, trust mind. See what happens, See how, because the mind is the only thing that knows how to undo that which was never done. It really does. We we're always trying to undo something that we believe, we think, oh, I'm pretty sure that it was done, yeah? That's the continuation of the situation. But mind is the only thing that can undo what was never done, yeah? And how long does it take? Absolutely no time. Yeah? I mean, if you see that which you've been trying to kill or vanquish as non-existent, you're gonna put all the guns away because it's never been alive to kill. It's been you the whole time. Yeah? It's been mind dreaming and getting seemingly, and I mean the emphasis is on seemingly, meaning it's appearing to be true or false to the mind, but seemingly gone asleep in the dream as being identified as the dreamt. I don't believe it's happened. I don't even believe it's happening. But we sure believe it. Something believes it, yeah. And as Jesus says, as you believe, so it is. There you go. So do you want to change so it is? Or do you want to just change as you believe? If the belief shifts, things happen. Yeah. So this is the easiest off the way. Instead of having to go through a dark night in the soul that lasts like months or something, you can just hear some talks. Save yourself a lot of trouble. A lot of Kleenexes and shit. Just, you won't lose tons of weight. You don't have to, I mean, it can happen still, but you won't take it as seriously as you would if you thought you were the one that was the dark night of soul. Yes? It was just a dark night of soul blew through what you are, really, the context. Yeah? Because tons of shit are happening here, but none of them ever land on anyone. That's the good news. Yeah? And how can, just look at every night you're going to go to sleep. This extravagant thing, this extravagant circus, the tents go down every night. You're the ringleader. You're all the acts. You're everything. When you go to sleep, the circus is left down. And only for the tents to go back up when you wake up. You put on your little clown suit, and there you go. It's Paul. You're not laughing. See, that's the ingredient we need a little more of. To start laughing about Paul. So, claiming, checking it out. Selfing is what I believe, what Ramana Maharshi was saying in one of the important points if you read some of his writings, which is, he says it in many different ways, but the old presupposing of a non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. That's the quintessence of selfing. That's what it is. It's not just an assuming, it's a pre-assuming. So when it assumes, it pre-assumes it was there earlier. Yeah? So really, where we believe we're at as a starting point is made up. Yeah? But what happens is when the mental state presupposes that we're the non-existent thing, and then this thing wants to get salvation for the non-existent thing, the presupposing implies that you were before consciousness, you're before all the doing, so you must. So then it has this little mental logic. Its mental logic is airtight, but it's an insane cubicle. Yeah? The airtightness is, if there's something done, someone must have did it. Yeah? If there's seeing, there's got to be a seer. If there's hearing, there's got to be a hearer. And if you can't pin it on you or someone else, you say God. Yeah? But it's still a thing. Somehow there's someone behind it all, doing it all. But in a sense, if you may not find that to be true. And if you don't, if you see that it isn't true, it changes everything, because what will initiate everything changing is what's having everything, which is us. We are the reality. We're not the dreamt, we're the dreaming. It's a much different position. Yeah? We're the dreaming. We're dreaming. The Course is very clear on that, the Course in Miracles. It says it's many, tons of ways, but my favorite is, hey, And probably, hopefully it's in the book. I've been using it for some years. I always have a cross-check, but I may have made it up or something. But you and I, well, they say, I'm going to be exactly what they say in the book. You and I are the dreamer of the dream. Not you and I as Paul, not as the dreamt, but as mine, right? You and I are the dreaming of this dream. Okay? Now, believe it or not, I believe that to be true. And it says, okay, we forget that we're dreaming. Now that's a little bit suspicious, So I like to throw the word in seemingly forget. So it means it appears to be true to the dreaming that we forgot, but I don't believe we forgot, that we're the dreaming. That's the solution, really. The solution is, this is an impossibility, truly. That's the base of the solution. So you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forgot that we're dreaming, or let's say we're forgetting that we're dreaming right now. And so I was interested in, well, how is that happening? And so then it was downloaded, hey, because I'm identified as the dreamt. When mind identifies as the dreamt, it seemingly forgets that it's dreaming. Because now it takes the dreaming to be a real place that it's in, All right, so then what happens when this is all in place? Well, suddenly, I find myself that I've given everything that I've given all the meaning to has now the ability to affect me as this, So I'm the dreaming of the dream. I seemingly forget that I'm dreaming. And in that condition, everything I'm dreaming now has the ability to affect me as the dreamt. Doesn't it sound like your day? Well, sounds like my whole life. If you wanted to have one skeletal diagram of the activity, I would say that encompasses it all, We're the dreaming of this dream, and there isn't a dream. There's just dreaming. See, when you say a dream, it sounds like, a thing, I don't believe in things. I don't see that to be true. I think we're dreaming things, but there are no things to be dreamt about. We're dreaming things, So there's just dreaming. I would say we're probably moving at the speed of light, and we don't know it, really, mind. It was a very strange book. I had to meet someone, and I was in Clement Street, and I went to Green Apple as a bookstore. I'm giving a free plug. And I didn't know, so I saw this book, and it says, the Lord Buddha's description of the whole universe. I said, fuck, that sounds pretty good. And it was an old Theravadan book, I think. So I got it, and I was reading it there, and it was unbelievable. Lost my mind. He supposedly had like a 50-day meeting where he explained everything. I mean, he covered every base. And it was interesting how he was talking about in the dreaming, the speed of everything, and that the speed of mind is unbelievably so fast. It's moving so extremely super duper fast, And it had and as it's a dreaming, some of its dreaming is a little slower and stuff, and that's what takes shapes. And then there's the mixture of wood, fire, earth, metal, and it all does this and all that. And Ramana talked about it a lot in this one thing I read. He said, the guy who's just sitting still is moving incredibly. It's the speed of the fucking universe, and he looks like he's doing nothing. So it's a trip, man. So you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that we're dreaming. And in that condition, we give everything we're dreaming the power to affect us. As this, That truly is what's going on. Look at it. It's a beautifully sound statement. It's very clear, and yet it can be applied, ad infinitum to every day anyone or everyone has been in, really, if you see it that way. So what you finally come to, or quickly come to, is that the way you were going about things, or the way you were driven to see things, was the fundamental mistake. And so great Zen master Huang Po tried to clear it up for us. He said, hey, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You can't use the light to seek light. You can't use big M mind to seek mind. You can try for eons and nothing's going to happen. So what is being implied there? Well, if you seem to be seeking the Buddha, it's implying that you mustn't get a hit that you are the Buddha, because you're never going to find the Buddha looking for the Buddha. That's been cleared up way before. It's being the Buddha. It's looking for maybe like sandwiches, everything else, but it ain't looking for the topic of itself. Yeah. And we are trying, the mental state is a one-trick pony, so it believes, hey, I didn't had myself into that lunch today, I didn't had myself into meeting that girl, I did and had myself into the sandwich, I did so that's how I'm going to go about this. But see, a sandwich is not you, yeah? See, so you can apply this to getting a jacket. I got to get up, and the jacket is probably not going to fall out of the sky, hit me, you know what I mean? So it looks like I've got to do it and do something to get something. But you can't apply that to what you are, because it will do the exact opposite. It will be like you're never going to get that jacket, yeah? Because you are the jacket, see? So you can't, the application of the same old will not work, and that's what happens a lot here. The same formula is applied to every topic we meet. And maybe it works in every topic, but not on the topic of what you are, because you are what you are. You can't do and have yourself into what you already are. What will actually happen, the doing and having will imply that you're not in it. That's its whole job. You think it's the other job, I'm going to get there, but it's actually being used to imply that you're not there. Yeah? And then if it's been playing this logic for 20 years without ever finding anything really, now it has a large investment in that. So if the solution came to it, you would think you would jump right in and grab the solution, but it's like, wait a minute, I got all these 30-year mats I've been sitting on, and I've been writing a blog and everything like that. There's a lot of investment the mental state has to an identity all around trying to find yourself. So it's not going to be, hey, wait a minute, you may not recognize the solution, because it won't be seen to be one to you. That's why I was lucky. I had nothing going on. So I really didn't. I had absolutely zilch happening. The only two pegs I've had my whole life to hang my head on was house painter, which I wasn't that good at, and a spiritual seeker, which the rug was pulled out from underneath me. So I didn't have much. It was like, sure, definitely. Perhaps there's a better way, I'm all for it. Some people have they're rich in a way, like Jesus would say, rich people. Can't get through the eye of the needle. I don't think he was just saying money. It was, you're rich in concepts, you're rich in this, you're rich in experience, and that experience becomes a value to the mental state. It holds on to it. It doesn't want to let go. And a lot of people they want to have an experience of something similar to what they are, but because then they can still be there. Yeah? To have an experience. Where doesn't have that option. Yeah. So you may go through a period of boredom, because the mental state is going to be a very unhappy puppy. Because it's smelling, it's just like fucking, there's nothing here. It's like the coyote, looking to eat and runs into that desert tortoise. It can't get into the desert, to the meat, and it leaves in about 3 minutes. Now we have been staying around the tortoise for 50 years, trying to pull a leg out. The coyote, in this sense, is much, much smarter than us. It got very quickly. It ain't going to get anything. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. But the point is, if it starts dawning on you, it'll be like it's always been that way. It's never not been that way. So all the longing is of time. Yeah. The solution isn't like the completion or the apex of the longing. It just dismisses all that because it's not of time. Yeah. How can you long for something that's always here? How can you sing songs about waiting so patiently when you are waiting as that which you're looking for? Really, deep down, it is true. You know? It sort of takes a lot of the weight out of where you hit all your the mental state's been hiding a lot of meaning everywhere. Like gold bars. And it really wants to be right about it. It does. You can even turn this into a gold bar and want to be right about it. To me, that's like a non-dual, what were those guys, the Phyllis? Who were the guys at the time of Jesus? The Phyllis, what were they called? No, the Jewish guys, the Pharisees. It's like a non-dual Pharisee, you know. You can get the letter of the law, but you miss the spirit of the law. Yeah? So you're right. I mean, some people, I haven't, you know, people use my stuff on the internet, yeah? And some of the statements, they're so right, but they don't understand this is about communicating. You know, this isn't about an absolute dogmatic statement that either you come to heal or fuck you. It's about trying to get through the little. It's like spiritual sperm. You know what I mean? You're just hoping one of them gets to the fucking divine egg, so to speak. So back it in. I don't care how I get that sperm in there. And they say 50 me's and 5 I's and 10 U's. It doesn't matter. It's something else. Yes, it's an energetic something. That's the language. Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, we're sentient. So I've been sitting here for tons of years. Thank God I never showed up to any meeting I've ever been at, or we would have canceled them years ago, because I'd have a lot of reasons why I shouldn't be giving a talk. I got stacks of them, and people even have more stacks of them. But thank God something compelled it and overrode the little mental states for a long time, because I was doing this similar thing in recovery. It's just, I walk in. Didn't matter what my emotional state was, a physical state or mental state or circumstantial state, something override it all and went out, and, you know, presented something like this for years and years and years and years and years. And some of the joy of that is because it overrides the system. In that event, the system's never thought about. No matter how painful the system, the thing was in, it's totally forgotten completely during the talk. And that became very obvious. How could something that seems so real disappear so quickly? It mustn't be real if suddenly its influence has been bothering me all day, and then suddenly it's not bothering me for an hour, and I didn't take Valium or anything. Just like, it's like the greatest painkiller, because you're not the one who's in the pain. You're displaced, yes? In other words, that which is downloading takes over the system, overrides the little navigational system of self-centered, and uses it to give a talk. And the benefit of the poor this thing is it's totally free from all the effects it would have. It's freaking cool. Now, if that happens constantly over years and years and years, something's got to, you know, your humble bowl gets filled with some understanding. You're like, wait a minute, how can this be real if it can disappear like that? It doesn't take any time whatsoever. So you're going to get tons of intimations, tons of hints, you know, free samples. The thing's going to whisper to you. Yeah, it's going to, because it's sort of like, the fish is in the ocean. It doesn't have to be yelled at unless that's necessary. It doesn't have to be a giant loudspeaker. It could be a subtle little hey. And as soon as it dawns on it, it's completely immersed. It realizes it's always been completely immersed. And the whole story of being the fish looking for the ocean, or the fish that was dry, the fish in there, all gets dismissed. It still hovers, but you're not aligned with the story anymore. That one tentacle of identification, which is the one that keeps the whole thing being breathed, right, is cut, yeah? It has its little life for a little time, and it starts losing power. Like, you take the batteries out in the energetic, the ever-ready bunny, the bunny's going to stop being a bunny. Yeah, it's got a little bit of spurt for a while. And as the Course says, we're going to dream ourselves out of the dream, and the dream's going to get happier. And then you'll be seemingly not out of here because you're not in here, but things will seem to change. Yeah? Jesus, now they have. This is a men's meeting.
Put aside your opinions.
We've been talking. What about your opinion? What is a men's meeting but opinion? I tend now, as soon as I see Zen Mark, my friend, I stop. This is great, bro. I'm really happy. I swear to God, I don't want to give you one drop. It's perfect. It just does. It just shuts it right off. It was like a flood, just a flooding waterfall. I see you. It's just drying up like that.
Couldn't be better.
I can't help it. That's what's up. I just. Don't come to any of my other meetings because they won't get off the ground. They're good. You're a perfect time coming late. So it works. So. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, so I just going to give you the summaries then, Mark, which you already think you know. So, so the whole movement. Watch the selfie, yeah, because you are in front of it. You perceive it, yeah. It's constantly implying that you're that which is after, but you're not. So you can see it. So just see the movement claiming, and then just watch. If you allow that to be applied with the activity, you'll start seeing its little theme, yeah? Because the particulars don't matter. The particulars are just particulars. You want to see the theme, all right? So you see this claiming, and then you recognize the claiming's movement is represented by my, the word my, yeah? And then you'll get a feeling of it, because suddenly you'll have thoughts will go by, and then some of them will seem different, and you'll see that vague sense that's there, the mind, yeah? And now you'll start seeing how the weight of selfing, which is imaginary, gets distributed, and then reaches a point of seemingly being so to us, yeah? You'll see it. And once you see it, it's like the gig is up. You see the burglar. This is what I've done. If you see the burglar in the act of taking something, it gets very meek. It just it goes into the night without much of a bang. It's when it's gotten its first step in the door, then it's the fucking landlord. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. That's it, I think, for tonight. Yes, good to see everybody. We'll pass the basket, I think, yes.
You want it stopped?
Yeah, turn it on. Yeah, thanks.